to introduce our first speaker for the day. It's a privilege, we have this esteemed woman within our, network. You know, her vast knowledge and groundbreaking work in branding, international marketing, and communication strategy has made waves globally. And we are fortunate to benefit from her insight and expertise. Now we're talking about Sana Bakshi. I hope I got that right. Bakshi, a versatile communication and business consultant. She is the CEO of Brand Moxie. She operates between the USA and the UAE, excelling in branding, international marketing, communication strategy, innovation, and stakeholder engagement in public and private sectors. As the CEO of Brand Moxie, she oversees a comprehensive suite of services from branding, PR, advertising, to retail consultancy, emphasizing brand alignment, segmentation, and experiential marketing. Her entrepreneurial initiatives include founding Tamarkan, fostering entrepreneurship, and leading Temple's interculturalism efforts. Additionally, she champions platforms like The Smooth and the World for Good for film talent and sustainability. In the UAE, her roles as an advisor for Abu Dhabi Municipality and Higher College of Technology showcase her strategic communication expertise. Currently, she provides top-tier consulting in innovation, entrepreneurship, and mentors through Veros, fostering cross-cultural dialogues amongst entrepreneurs. Her leadership in AMCAM, Abu Dhabi, chairing committees like Women in Business, spearheaded initiatives like Women Achieve, promoting women's empowerment ideals. Fantastic. She is really pushing the women's frontier aggressively. We really appreciate the work they're doing. She also has teaching roles at Zayed University and advisory position in industry committees. Her career journey began as a journalist at Gulf News, where she met global leaders. I remember what Indidi said. She said that where you work can be actually your stepping stone to a new level. Clearly, she has used the opportunity to build a professional career for herself. And she moved on to many dynamic roles. Her entrepreneurial spirit and vast network has all have significantly shaped her influence, fostering impactful partnerships and bridging cultural gaps in diverse industry. She'll be taking notes on the topic inclusion, the pathway to growth. So let's give a resounding warm welcome and digital applause or virtual applause to Sana. Sana, thank you. Welcome, welcome,
Thank
welcome to
you.
Growth Conference 2024.
I'm so sorry that's such a long thing. I should have just
No,
given
it's
you a short
okay.
paragraph. That would have been enough.
It's well deserving. Please always showcase always showcase what you've achieved. We all
Thank
need to
you.
know so people will be inspired and like, oh yeah, I can do this. So it's good for everyone to know. It's fine. It's okay. Thank you, welcome, Sana. You have the floor now. To take us through your topic before we go into the questions of the day. And your topic, of course, is inclusion, the pathway to growth. Thank you. You have 3 minutes for this.
Thank you. By the way, the sound is a little bit weak. I hope you can hear me well. I'm in Dubai.
Excellently.
Yeah,
I
the
can hear
time
you.
is, you can hear us. Yeah, you can hear me. Yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock here. So maybe a little bit about my background first. I'm a big believer, a big champion for inclusion, for fairness, for just really building intercultural connections between people. And this is maybe because of my background. I straddle maybe 4 different cultures. I was born in Ethiopia. My great grandmother is Ethiopian. I am from Yemen, from a place called Hadramaut in Yemen. I am an American citizen. I live in the UAE, in the United Arab Emirates, and most of my extended family here are Emiratis. So I really feel like I am privileged, I am honored to come from different places. But I think that also puts me in a position where I feel like I I I wish people would connect to each other more, because there's so much more that makes us the same. We have, many universal values that should bring us together, and yet I am sometimes frustrated because people don't try to understand each other. They don't try to accept each other, to include each other, to reach out to each other. And so for me, all my life, I've always been striving to just connect people. So even when I was running, Brand Moxie, the marketing agency, I had a space. I would bring people from different cultures together. My friends are from everywhere. I'm very, very honored to have people from almost all the countries that you can imagine. And so within my space, I would just celebrate, the Arabian events, the Black History Month, the Filipino events, the American events, the Indian, and all of that. And the whole idea was just to show how close we should be and we can be if we open our hearts, if we open our homes to each other, and if we try to understand. So inclusion is one of those things that really drives me. And I focus a lot on social impact in many other ways, but I feel like inclusion and tolerance and openness are the anchors of a better society, a more successful society, a prosperous one, a more secure one. So this is sort of where my my beginnings are, and my purpose, where my purpose comes from. I hope I answered the question about the introduction.
Yes, very. Yes. Thank you. Very in line with exactly what we want to hear. Do you want us to go into the questions now, or do you want to add
Sure,
more
sure.
to that?
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely. We
okay.
can go into the questions. Shall I go
Questions.
ahead and start, or is there going to be a
So
question? You want to
yeah, question.
ask it first?
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
ask you. Yes, yeah, I'll
okay,
ask the question. Yes,
okay.
thank you. So, inclusion, it often involves addressing systemic biases. Why is it important that institutions effectively and continuously identify and dismantle these biases? Speaking from this perspective, you have a broader, view of it. You've interacted with lots of people, and definitely you are the expert in this. Help us broaden our mind when it comes to biases. Some of us don't even understand what systemic biases are. We live through it, we don't even know what it is. And after a long while, when we are exposed, you're like, oh, well, that's a bias, but it's almost 10 years gone and you've been in the rot of the system. How do you identify what system biases are, and how do institutions, effectively identify it and dismantle these biases?
Right. So uh, Ogo, I'll tell you why it's so important for us to be inclusive, why we should be aware of our biases. It goes back to why we need, why do we need people to be treated the same? Why do we need that? As a very basic foundational stone, everybody needs to be treated the same. If you look at it, even in our religions, all of the Abrahamic religions are about equality. Everybody should be equal. When you look at it at national level, if you talk about the wars that are happening now and the tragic deaths that are happening, and I don't want to go into politics, but a lot of that stems from the fact that people are not being treated equally. And so you need to treat people equally uh, to create a society that works. Basically, it's like a machine. You want a society that is functioning well. For a society to function well, everybody has to have an opportunity. And here we're not talking only about nationality. We're talking about ethnicity, we're talking about religion, um, we're talking about age. There's something called ageism as well these days. So people have to be treated with respect. They have to be uh, they have to be um, evaluated and assessed based on their merits, not who they are, but what they bring to the table, what their value system is, and the core of the being. So I think that is a very, very important thing to have. So if you see it at an institutional level, the same dynamics are there. If you see an organization where some of the people are not being treated well, you create division. People start talking, why did he get it? And why, then you get this thing called nepotism, and then you open the door to corruption. There's so many things that start happening when there's no inclusion. And so the reason why we need it is because it's not only the right thing to do, but it is the thing that will actually make the organization move forward to prosper and all of that. So it also, the other factors are, it touches almost every component. It touches things like security. It touches things like belonging, sense of identity, and so it is integral to almost any kind of business, whether it is a small business, a public entity, a private entity, a government, a nation. It has to happen like that. So people are happy. You build a better society, a more prosperous, more secure society.
Wow, thank you so much for that insight. I'm sure when we get into the other questions, people will gain even further clarity in what exactly inclusion. And sometimes, if we are also participating in these biases, we are also, yes, we're not just against us. We are also participating because somebody is actually perpetuating these biases, and it could be one of us, but we're not aware that we are participating in it as well.
That's
So, in
exactly
what
true.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
exactly true.
yes, yeah.
And
So
just
what?
to talk
Okay,
about your bias, yeah, just the bias thing.
yes.
I can tell you, I know people from almost every nation you can imagine. Everybody is biased. Everybody is biased. Deep down, you look at a person from another background. They might be poorer, or they might be rich, or they might be a different color. You have your biases. I remember something that Oprah said one time that resonated with me. She said, all of us have biases, but we need to first recognize them. We have to know that they're there, and we have to actively fight them. And the thing is, we should, even if they're there, we should never act on our biases.
Right. Right. Wow, true.
Yeah, we should
Even
never
if they
act
are
on them.
there, we should not act on our biases. So
Yeah,
we must accept that they exist, but we must not act on it. Fantastic. That's great.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it really, you really struck a chord in my heart, and I will put that in my heart.
Yeah,
Never act on my biases. Okay, moving on to the next question. We're asking, in what ways can leaders actively champion inclusion as a driver for growth within organizations? Ensuring that it's not just a checkbox, let's just do something that looks inclusive, like an event or something just in the corner or a policy, you know, what, but an integral part of the company's efforts. This is particularly for entrepreneurs who are building their companies. They need to understand what exactly they need to do long term to say that all my company is inclusive, beyond policy making and activities, Black History Month, this thing, this one, what is that? What is that thing that the leaders need to champion actively? The word is
right.
actively.
the most important thing in an organization, the one thing that is the driver of this kind of change, is the leader himself or herself. A leader who cares is a leader who will enforce the policies. It is a leader who will encourage and nurture empathy, understanding, openness within his or her staff. So for me, it breaks my heart when you see an incredible team of people. They're all, they all want to they want to do good things. They want to work hard. They want to build the company. They love the teamwork. They want to perform and make a difference. And yet you have a leader. And this could be a leader at the top, or it could be a middle manager, or at any level. And the minute you have somebody who doesn't actually uphold those values, who is not insistent on carrying out those policies, who doesn't care that during the meeting, one of his staff was talking and nobody listened to her, or somebody was not invited to a meeting, or if that isn't enforced, nothing works. Even if you have the best policies, you have the best PR, and everybody says what an amazing company it is, and we have CSR and philanthropy. If you don't actually have people who care at all levels of the institution and enforce that in a very systematic and a very in a totally messaging aligned way, and in behavioral and action aligned, it doesn't work well. You're going to find pockets here and there of people who feel like they haven't been recognized, the entity doesn't care about them, they are not included in certain projects, they're not remunerated well. So I see leaders as the single most important key to that. And so the kind of leader that you want to be is, you want to be a leader who first of all validates efforts. You want to be a leader who listens. You want to be a leader who comes down. You don't need to be in your office on the 15th floor. Come down and sit and talk to your staff, and listen to them, connect to them. You want to be that kind of leader, and you want to be somebody who understands if there are bottlenecks, that he or she does something about it. And the only way that can happen is if the leader listens. They actually listen actively, and they have a process for redress. Like, if I don't agree with something, there needs to be a process for somebody to actually listen to me, and it has to be a process that is integrated into the institution, and that takes a process where it is checked, and there's compliance, and there is actual follow-up. I've seen a lot of people in many organizations where there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it looks great. You see all of they've covered everything. They've ticked all the boxes, but at the end of it, the person feels left out, and it happens in many organizations, unfortunately.
Wow. So I clearly hear you that the leader is a champion at every level. So whatever is happening up must trickle down. You must leave your position, your office literally, and sit with your people and hear
Absolutely.
them when they are not speaking and while they're speaking. Thank you so much. The leader is a champion who, it's not about the policy. Yes, it's written somewhere, we know it, but if the leader is not actively showcasing that policy with his or her actions, then it's just paperwork that we sign and we
Yeah.
know. And yeah,
And the staff, they see it. You can't hide it from them. Maybe outsiders see all the candy, but people inside, they know the truth.
yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for that. So the leader is everything. The leader is everything. So we're asking, are there examples of strategies or initiatives that have proven effective in catalyzing or this shift, towards greater diversity, equality, and inclusion, therefore or thereby fueling collective growth. Like, tell us strategies that you've seen that have worked,
Okay.
and this strategy, yes, you've seen it work over a period of time, and you can see the evident results. Because everything is about strategy. When we write the policies, when we have our meeting, oh, we want to do this, then we document it, then we implement it. So the implementation is always a challenge. I know that you have a lot to share with us as per strategies. So please, you have the floor to share.
So I'll tell you a very funny story of something that was very disturbing to me. I was a consultant in a company, and I was told to come in and see, to just listen at one of the leaders as he was engaging with his staff. So the funny thing, oh gosh, he called the staff, and apparently the company was really conflicted. They were saying the branding doesn't work. And the staff were saying the color needs to be blue, and their manager was saying no, it has to be red. So then people told him, look, you have to listen to your staff. So I was there. He called his staff, 15 people, and he was there standing, and he said, I want to go all around and ask everybody what they think, whether it's red or blue. And he asked the first person, the person said blue. The second person said blue. The third blue, all the way, all 15 said blue. He looked at them, he said, thank you very much, but we're going to go with red.
Wow.
It was just,
Wow.
it was disturbing. And all the stuff, they went out thinking, what a crazy guy, even if he had wanted to go with red, he shouldn't have made such a spectacle of it like that. He just completely showed everybody that he didn't really care. So this is an example of one of the dumbest things that I've seen, but there are many examples of things that really, really work. And one of the things, so I was at one point in a group, the American Business Group here in Abu Dhabi. We came up with something called Women Achieve, which is a pledge. I was chairing the committee at that time, and we came up with a pledge of certain what are they called, like promises. We pledge that we will give the women in our company an opportunity to serve on boards. 2, to get equal remuneration. 3, to get proper training. 4, to and we came up with that. And when we launched it, it was crazy because it was immediately signed by a lot of companies. But the most important thing about that pledge, what we wanted them to do, was we wanted them to take it and frame it and put it on the wall where they will be reminded of it every day. And where also the women will hold them responsible for it. There's no point in signing something and it's in the drawer. So the point here is, if you have something that is about empowerment, or you want to, whether it's for women or whether it's any kind of inclusivity thing, showcase it. Part of the thing that makes it work is the communication aspect of it. So it needs to be included. It needs to be reminded in the newsletters. It needs to be in the communication. It can be messaging that is across the whole institution, but it's reminders that the institution stands by its words. And also the other part of the coin is the staffer looks at it and says, this is my right. So they take them to task if that's not delivered. But other strategies that I've seen that really work is when you actually bring people together. The only way you can get people to respect each other, to work with each other, is if you combine them in teams. So for me, one of the things that I always tell my clients, is mix it up. You have a project, mix it up. Bring in people from the different countries, bring people from different ages, backgrounds as well. The more different backgrounds you have, the more you drive innovation, the more you drive productivity. You get different viewpoints. There is so much value in bringing in different viewpoints, because this way you get a much richer output, rather than something that is very narrow-minded and something that is repetitive. A lot of companies, they do the same thing over and over and over again because of bias. It's a different kind of bias. It's the bias where you think this works and you're not open to other ways of doing it. So the minute you bring in somebody from a different community, a different race, a different religion, or whatever, they come in with fresh perspectives. And one thing that I loved in my office was I would always bring young people, because my staff learned so much from the young people as interns, as much as the interns learned from the experienced staffers. So the most important thing is bring people together, and you get sparks of innovation, you get sparks of excitement, and you build teams that are diverse and ready to do amazing things.
Wow, 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 wow. Sana, thank you so much. I picked up on a lot of nuggets, a lot of things about inclusion. I learned a lot myself when I'm thinking about myself and a team that I'm going to work with in the future, even if for a short period of time. In my mind, back of my mind, will always think about inclusion. Put them in teams, make sure your inclusion statement is more of a pledge, a promise, than a policy. I really, really got that. And I'm sure there's so many things that people in the comment section will be throwing out. And we're just going to have a recap later. But thank you so much, Anna, for your time. Thank you for expertise. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us on inclusion.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
And the session is over.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.